Viewers, this is a Times Now mega exclusive. Months after MHA extended a ban on LTTE for 5 years, now the move has been upheld by a UAPA tribunal. It upheld the government's decision to extend a 5-year ban imposed on the LTTE, saying that the group continues to be a threat to India's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and it is still indulging in activities prejudicial to the integrity and security of the country. In this order, the UAPA tribunal has noted that it was unquestionable that the LTTE cadre are still active in the state of Tamil Nadu and are undertaking efforts to regroup this scattered activists as well as resurrect LTTE locally and internationally. Let's quickly take you through some of the most scathing observations that the tribunal made. Now, in this particular order of the tribunal, in fact, you can see the first revelation is the unquestionable fact that LTTE cadre are still active in Tamil Nadu. It further looks at another aspect which says that efforts to regroup the scattered activists are currently underway. It further says there is an attempt to resurrect LTTE locally and internationally as well. Revelation number 4, LTTE actively engaged in unlawful activities. Revelation 5, unlawful activities threaten the sovereignty of India. Revelation 6, officers both from Tamil Nadu and the NIA or the National Investigation Agency have presented evidence. Now, this is as far as the revelations are concerned, as far as this particular UAPA tribunal's details are concerned, and this order has mentioned all of these illegal activities that were carried out by the LTTE. Now, these are some of the activities. This includes illegal trafficking. There's also, of course, other activities that are included. Drugs as well is something that they are involved in. Arms and ammunition smuggling is another aspect of their illegal activities that have been mentioned. There are other activities as well. If you can quickly bring that up on the screen. All right, this is, in fact, the third set of information. This is the very, very serious links with Pakistan that have been spoken about, that LTTE has joined hands with known drug lords in Pakistan. And these Sri Lankan drug mafia have colluded with Pakistan drug lords is what we are told. And therefore, the Pakistan drug lords and LTTE nexus operating in India and Sri Lanka poses a huge risk. LTTE smuggling narcotics and financing their terror activities is the information that has been presented before the UAPA. Let's also tell you that in May this year, the Home Ministry had extended the ban on the LTTE, and then MDMK founder Vaiko had demanded that the centre should revoke the ban on LTTE. He sought to plead before the tribunal over this issue, but his application was rejected. However, the tribunal has allowed him to place his arguments and documents to a limited extent. Vaiko had contended that he sympathizes with the LTTE's aspirations and deprecates its ban. Let's listen into some of the reactions coming in.
The LTTE continues to be a banned terrorist organization. The LTTE was responsible for the assassination of our former Prime Minister. It is an organization and its ideology has no place in India. While the High Court's judgment against a banned organization is acceptable, but in reality, destruction of books doesn't necessarily take away the core behind that poisonous ideology. As far as separatism is concerned, there is no place for Tamil separatism in India.
What do you make of Mr. Vaiko's statement?
He's always been a consistent fringe supporter of Tamil nationalism and Tamil separatism, and that really has no takers in Tamil Nadu. It is a fringe view, and there is not much purchase for his view, and that's been also seen by how his party has also diminished over the years.
It's very important to continue the ban because Rajiv Ji has laid down his life for this nation. Any form of any organization which has a terrorist past should never be entertained in Indian soil. See, I cannot speak for another party. As far as the Congress party is concerned, we are against any form of organization whose the terrorist who has the past link with the kind of terrorism will never be entertained in Indian soil.
Not only across the country, across the globe, these people are there, and it definitely, it is a big threat for the country's, India's sovereignty and the integrity. So it is a right decision. In fact, the central government had told the same thing, and it has upheld the central government's decision. It is a welcome move, and Yes, this movement which was responsible for our former Prime Minister Mr. Rajiv Gandhi's death, murder, definitely it has to be banned and it is welcome.
Let's take this across to Bhavtosh Singh, who's our senior editor, joining us now. Bhavtosh, this is very, very important and a big news break, Bhavtosh Singh, because LTTE not only trying to regroup, but all of its illegal activities and intentions have been detailed in what the UAPA Tribunal has found. Can you quickly take us through some of them? All right, I think we've lost that connection there with Bhavtosh. We'll try and fix the audio there in just a minute. We'll just be back with him. He's breaking this massive story where LTT's entire plans, all the activists trying to regroup, is the information that has been presented before the UAPA. Yes, Bhavtosh is with us, I'm told. Yes, Bhavtosh, very, very big and very, very interesting, because from the perspective of what the LTTE has done in the past, they have been associated with the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi, have carried out that killing, and now, once again, information coming in that they are attempting to regroup.
This is from NIA and also from the key branch of Tamil Nadu. And they all, in fact, presented evidence before the tribunal, giving details as to what happened between 2021 and 2024.
Between 2021 and 2024, when there were spikes in activities of LTTE, particularly in the coastal region. Now, NIA carried out several raids and searches in Tamil Nadu.
All right, apologize for the poor quality of that audio. We'll come back to Bhavtosh in just a minute. But let me quickly take this across to our guest now. Joining us, we have with us Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow of the ORF. We have Dr. Smriti Patnaik, Research Fellow of the MPIDSA. Also with us is Major General A.K. Siwaj, who's a retired defense analyst. Let me start with you first, Dr. Smriti Patnaik. Information that's coming in of how the LTTE has been trying to regroup, about how, of course, various officers from the Tamil Nadu Police to the NIA have deposed before the UAPA Tribunal. But the very fact that they have tried to come together through a series of illegal activities, how much of a concern is this in your view, Dr. Patnaik?
Obviously, it is of serious concerns. This regrouping, the LTT has been trying to regroup for a very long time, and it is not surprising that the footprint of the regrouping is now, very much known to general media. But obviously, this has been tried. They have been very strong presence both in Canada and UK, where most of the money for the LTT comes from. And as you already presented and said that they have linkages with the drug mafia in Pakistan. That is also does not come as a surprise, because in the past, the LTT has been funded by its expatriate groups living in various countries, especially the rich European and other Western countries, as well as from the drug money. So therefore, it is a serious security concern. From time to time, we have seen also the news coming from various media, especially the print media, where there have been certain arrests that has been made, especially one that came also in the southern part of India, that the regrouping is very much visible. And obviously, it goes without saying that it actually constitutes a serious national security threat, considering that India is hosting, the Tamil refugees in Tamil Nadu and certain other southern part of India.
All right, let me bring in some of our other guests as well. Major General A.K. Siwaj, if I can come to you, sir. The fact is that, as the previous speaker was mentioning, that we do know that they have traditionally received support from foreign soil. There are certain European countries, there is Canada and some other countries where their supporters have been gathered. But the fact that they're trying to regroup in itself is a very, very important activity, and are trying their funding through all of these illegal activities. The big question, though, is that what role or in what form will this regrouping, if at all it happens, and how really India can counter it are important questions at this point of time.
Yeah, Madhav, no doubt. See, as far as LTT is concerned, it is trying to regroup, and maximum money is coming from the foreign countries, especially from Canada and other European countries. And now the latest trend which is being seen, that also they have connection with the Pakistan as far as the drug smuggling concern. That is a cause of concern, because remember that the drugs are also being sent by Pakistan, ISI and Deep State to India, and now they start having a direct connection with LTT in Sri Lanka. It's basically to muster up a lot of fund for it. But as far as LTT is concerned, in 2009, though it was eliminated, militarily it was defeated by the Sri Lankan army, but the roots of it, which were there in foreign country, never basically were taken out, and they have started growing again. And slowly and steadily, now the funds are being collected, and they are becoming bigger day by day. And therefore, this is a big challenge as far as Indian territorial integrity and sovereignty is concerned, and we have to be very, very careful. And UAPA now basically this has been banned again for 5 years is a step in the right direction. But we must not take this threat lightly. This is a challenge in the southern part of the country, because the point is that as on today, they still have some pockets, which is a cause of concern. We have to now identify that and neutralize those pockets also. But certainly one can say that this is an LTTE organization, is an organization with broad fidain in the militant organization. It's a deadly organization. We should not let it grow at all. And the ban is very much required. It is required for the territorial integrity, sovereignty of the country. And also we need to coordinate and cooperate with the Sri Lankan government.
Absolutely. And in fact, let me bring in the Sushant Sareen on that. Sushant Sareen, the fact is that, by and large, as far as our polity is concerned, at least perhaps no one would be speaking out, in any way supporting LTT. Of course, we have the stray voices such as Vaiko, etc., who even tried to implicate themselves before that tribunal. But the larger question is that while we may have this political unanimity, at the end of the day, if you have, Sri Lankan drug mafia, Pakistan drug mafia and LTT all in collusion in this manner, that is very, very serious from India's perspective. And of course, once again, Pakistan appearing to fish in troubled waters.
Look, I'm not so sure whether it's the government of Pakistan or this is a private sector venture between drug smugglers and the LTTE smuggling networks. And LTTE had a pretty strong smuggling network at one point of time. And it is quite possible that, because look, remember one thing, that the government of Pakistan, at least, and the Pakistani military has tried to cultivate very, very close relations with the Sri Lankan government, and then tried to use those close relations to insert their own Lashkar and other terrorist groups and try and infiltrate into India from down south. But I think the drug networks would probably be working somewhat autonomously. I wouldn't entirely put it on the ISI to be running those networks. I could be wrong, but that is one part of it. I think the other part of it is that I think it's good that we are showing abundant caution. As of now, the LTT threat is not a very big one. But I think we are seeing some green shoots of the LTT starting to operate once again. We also see some traction that the LTT is receiving, not directly but indirectly in Tamil Nadu. Fringe groups, Mr. Vaiko can be called fringe, he can be called not so fringe. But even within the DMK, for example, there are very sympathetic voices for what the LTT stood for. So you cannot afford to ignore the green shoots which are coming out, and you have to quell them. Now, you need some legal framework to be able to do this. If you lift the ban on the LTTE and its affiliated groups, then you have no legal framework on the basis of which you are going to crack down on them. So I think it is an imperative for the security agencies to get that legal cover, that if it's a banned organization, they can, start taking the necessary action to crush this menace before it becomes bigger than what it should be. So that's the second part of it. The third part of it is that Smriti is right. She's actually the expert on Sri Lanka, and she's been looking at it very closely. But she's absolutely right. LTT has, since 2009, when it was decimated, the organization was gone, the leadership was wiped out, but the ideology and the driving force behind the ideology remained. And the Sri Lankan government did not really do what needed to be done to ensure that reconciliation takes place, reintegration into the national mainstream takes place. So the majority community in Sri Lanka remained kind of aloof from this whole issue. Even they remained, in fact, hostile to the idea of giving anything more than what was normal stuff to the Tamil population. So that problem has continued to persist.
Okay.
And that gives some kind of wind for some kind of revival of LTTE or similar organizations, which I think we have burnt our fingers, and we should make sure that this kind of a thing does not grow.
Right.
And if the government is mindful of it, it is not complacent like we have been in Punjab, where we've allowed the menace to grow. At least in Tamil Nadu, we are taking preemptive steps and ensuring that this menace remains under the jackboot of the Indian state. It does not grow bigger than what it should be.
All right, lessons from Punjab, therefore Tamil Nadu is what Sushant is saying. But Dr. Smriti Patnaik, if I can come in on this, there's also been a change of regime there in Sri Lanka. How certain or how much do we know in terms of the new regime and in terms of their actions as far as cracking down on LTT is concerned? What can we expect in coming days?
See, I completely agree with Sushant. The LTT may be banned. You can ban the organization, but you really cannot ban the ideology. It stood for certain things. It stood for the Tamil political rights, which has been systematically denied by the Sri Lankan government historically. But having said that, the devolution, the 87 Indo-Lanka Accord, which provided a kind of devolution to the northern province, that actually, since I think, the last election when Vigneswaran was the Chief Minister of Northern Province, the election has not taken place, the provincial elections in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka also had seen certain instability, political instability for quite some time. The new government, very interestingly, has received a lot of vote from the northern part of Sri Lanka. In fact, this is the first time where the Tamil politicians have not done well as far as the Sri Lankan parliamentary election is concerned. Even for the presidential election, they also had their own candidate. Obviously, it was very much known that he will not be able to get elected given the population size and all. But the Tamil themselves have been also extremely divided over the issue of devolution, what kind of devolution should be there. The constitutional reform process, because there is this referendum thing in Sri Lankan constitution where even if you have a kind of, devolution proposed by the government, it has to go through a referendum. Right. And we all know in a majoritarian country how to get the referendum passed. But the current government appears to be sympathetic to provide devolution or political rights to the Tamil population. But we are not yet very sure. They have a very comfortable majority. But then again, the opposition from the Sinhala Buddhists will come. At one point of time, the JBP was very much against any kind of devolution to the LTT. They, in fact, had quite a few demonstrations and continued to demonstrate whenever there is this, in June, when the accord was signed.
All right, all right. Dr. Patnaik, I have to come in there. I'd like to thank you as well as Sushant Sarir and Major General A.K. Subhash for joining us and breaking this down for our viewers. Of course, certainly very, very chilling report there coming out of the UAPA Tribunal. I want to quickly go back to Bhavtosh Singh, who was breaking that story down for us earlier. Bhavtosh Singh, very, very significant because the fact that LTT is operating from Indian soil, the kind of illegal activities, it's all been detailed. And we all know the background of LTTE and their role in the assassination of former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. In that sense, certainly very, very alarming to read all of these findings.
Yes, Madhav. In fact, when the deposition started happening in June, when the tribunal was set up, there were several senior officers, not only from the Federal Probe Agency, that is NIA, but also from Tamil Nadu Police, and they all, in fact, gave evidence to the tribunal. Most importantly, they said that LTT cadre, even if they are scattered cadre around Tamil Nadu and also across the border in countries like Dubai and also in Pakistan as well as in European countries, they are all trying to regroup themselves, relocate themselves. They are indulging in drug trafficking, in gun running. In fact, NIA in past 2 years has carried out raids and searches in Tamil Nadu and also have busted a heroin racket in which large amount of drugs, at least 350 kilos of heroin was seized, and also gun trafficking racket. Now, there are charge sheets that have been filed. What is most disturbing and worrying factor is that there is a local cadre that is trying to regroup itself. They are using the coastal area of Tamil Nadu to send drug money as well as narcotics to Sri Lanka to revive LTT, not only in Sri Lanka but also in Tamil Nadu,
Right.
and that could be the reason why the tribunal has given such an order and also made some very scathing observation in the 33-page order.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Bhavtosh, with all of those details. Big story indeed. And of course, all eyes on what the centre's strategy is to counter this threat if LTT and its activists do plan to regroup. Thank you so much for joining us.